devour of breadcrumbs. Gender undefined, because I hadn't thought about that. I just came up with the name a while ago and decided that duck was in fact an evil member of the Void.
Yeah.
Like, that's just my personal headcanon. You're going to have to deal with it. Instead, Camille, Shen, Kekt, Cries, both of these players have been such a big deal for both of these teams. Kekt, in their last game when it looked really dicey, pulled off a mother of all Renekton games. And I need to see what he can do on another pick that can offer so much pressure, like a Shen, just turn up where you need him to.
So here's the thing with Riddle. I find Riddle to be a little bit hit and miss. Some other games will go great, some other games will be disastrous completely. I don't think I have seen Riddle ever in a middle ground scenario. A lot of the times, one of their members is going to have to come up ahead and 1v9. That member in their previous game against Astralis was Kekt. He went so far ahead onto his Renekton, way ahead of the curve, to the point where he was able to 1v9. Astralis almost won that game. Had Kekt not been that fed, had Kekt not played the fights to perfection with how fed he was, it would have been a very dicey moment for them. Now, talking about Kekt and why we're focusing so much on that is that he's on a Shen right now. He's not necessarily on a high carry champion that he can carry the entire team fight 1 versus 9. That weight is going to fall on other members on the side of Riddle. And here's where we want to take the magnifying glass out and be like, okay, who can actually carry the game? So who has enough consistent damage? Who has insane scaling into the late game? And who has the required peeling to play the team fights around a LeBlanc and a Volibear and a Galio? My answer to that is unfortunately Graves. Unfortunately for me, but the reality here is that obviously, Graves is one of the strongest champions when it comes to scaling a late game, especially when you go towards the Bloodthirst / Shield Ball build, means that nobody can poke you out of nowhere and you can dish out so much damage. Now, I'm gonna move away from the Graves because we're talking scaling, we're talking late game, we're talking way later on. I'm gonna sit on that mid lane because, man, MNS, it's that time, I'm sorry again, guys. MNS has pulled out his 9th unique champion in 9 games. I think at this point for this guy, it's a game. It's a game. He opens the grid of champions and he sees the ones he's played grayed out, and he has to choose from the remaining ones.
He's basically just going through going, I've not had one in this ladder yet. Let's get one on the L, that'll work. Yeah,
when I asked him when is Katarina coming out, he said next life.
I'm so sad for you.
I'm not going to be alive next life to see it.
All I'm saying is, for our other one-trick aficionado, semi-speaking, of course, Nightmare, big Ahri player, and Ahri's kind of good right now with some of the changes that come through.
Are you trying to trigger me?
So I'm just trying to say.
So Nightmare gets Ahri, I get Graves.
Yeah, you get Graves. I'm sorry. Like, I feel that's probably not the best trade for you, and I'm sorry for that. But hey, at least you got something, even if it was rage-inducing.
Obviously, we're having a little bit of fun because the early game seems
never mind. No.
It's slow until MNS always decides to dive a tower. That was a beautiful chain that he landed on Slowq. Slowq could have tried to flash that, didn't think it was going to hit him. He got the chain through 5 minions. I don't know if we can have that replay from our amazing team of observers. But again, I don't know how many solo bolos this guy has, man. It's just insane at this point.
He's on about 2.5 solo kills a game. This man is a monster. We tried for once to focus somewhere that wasn't mid lane for JDXL. And instead, the moment we try to look elsewhere, the moment we try to talk about things like Camille versus Shen, this interesting dichotomy of styles, MNS pulls off a mother of all solo kills in that lane. Great stuff from this guy on his 9th unique champion again.
So, let's talk a little bit about how this matchup goes, because I find it really interesting. I'm just seeing right now that MNS has gone for Resolve as his second tree, together with Electrocute for his main one. Now, the thing is, Slowq has Flash, and they're gonna get this Flash.
They're gonna get the chains as well, but here comes MC and Nukes. They're gonna force that turn. That's a Flash crash down. Gonna try and get as much damage onto Kikis as they can. No Flash, no way out. And Riddle counter beautifully in the mid lane.
Really good read right there by Nukes and MC. They knew that, you know what? MNS is a guy who doesn't hit once. He keeps hitting once he starts pinning you down, and I knew he was gonna go on the aggression again. This time he calls Kikis in the mid lane, and the second they take Slowq's flash, I think this is where you call it quits. You know, you're taking his flash, that means that MNS is extremely dangerous onto the LeBlanc when it comes to Vex. Now, let's talk a little bit about how this works, the Vex versus LeBlanc, because we saw MNS get a pretty easy solo kill. So, The thing with Vex is that she gets to push really easily. All three of her abilities can clear wave really quickly. Now, where the problem starts here with LeBlanc is that once LeBlanc sees you using your passive, which is the Fear, just to clear out the way, she has the green light once you don't have a lot of these spells to fear the LeBlanc, to trade you, which means all you have to defend yourself with is a shield. And if you don't have the Fear, you cannot pin down the LeBlanc to reply onto that trade. So it's really extremely clever right here from M&S to run the Resolve as second tree, grab the bomb plating as well, and be able to win on these trades. Because as you see, Slowq pushes down the mid lane, he keeps the Fear on him, which means that M&S cannot double you in to try and trade with him.
Can't, but now with the level 6 available, gets the double distortion there.
Okay. I would like to pinpoint what happened here. Once Slowq uses his passive Fear on the E, that procs bone plating on LeBlanc, which means that you don't get to do that much damage onto the LeBlanc, and LeBlanc gets to trade with you now that you don't have Fear. You know who else has no Fear?
Oh dear.
Shen doesn't have no Fear because he's trying to channel his ultimate away, but...
Stand united, but he falls divided. Cries gets the hook shot, gets
Still
that
no
kill,
Fear.
and Dan just turns up there and gets that one.
Yeah. And onto the Volibear. We saw Taxa pull the Volibear in the previous game. Not much happened in the early game. Dan, right here, gets towards the top side of the map, gets Cries ahead onto the Camille, who has actually been struggling against Kek's Shen. Now I'm wondering.
Yes.
I'm wondering.
What are you?
Because Dan is going to continue making plays on the map. Dan is about to hit level 6, and once he does, you bet he's going to try to pull something on the map.
Oh, Nukes went forward trying to get that root onto Zamalek, who'd been stunned in place, but a cleanse and a turnaround, and Nukes is dead in the 2v2.
This is a little bit disastrous, honestly, for Riddle. They're losing members in the mid lane, they're losing members in the top lane, they're losing members in the bot lane, and it's becoming a little bit disastrous. Against, Kikis is hiding into the burst, and once they get Zamalek, beautiful cleanse right there. Kikis goes straight onto Nukes. Nukes, remember, has no flash from that engage that happened in the mid lane, and he ends up instantly going down.
She might have an iron horse, but she's still pretty squishy, especially when she's running the Glacial. Tried to get on top of Zamalek, did Nukes, but just couldn't get there. And that counter from Kikis, as you said, so well timed. Great turnaround and a bit of a recovery from that, a bit of redemption, rather, from that mid lane play that kind of went awry for Kikis earlier on.
If you're Riddle, you really need to slow down. You really do. You have his Graves that's scaling really well into the late game. Your Jink provides a lot of damage.
Oh no.
Scaling. He can't scale.
No.
He's dead.
MC gets eviscerated by his own Raptor camp. Kikis and Dan pairing up to secure that one.
You need to slow down. Get out of sticky situations like this. Kikis has been with Dan the entire time, the entirety of the NLC. We've said this over and over and over again, that Kikis role swap from jungle. He's played jungle in all the teams he's been in. EU, LCS, any other ERL, any other league he's played in. He's been a jungler. And M&S, I'm not even surprised at this point.
We can't start any other conversations, Trouble, because every time we try to talk about anything that's not immediately on screen, M&S gets a solo kill.
I feel like
what is this?
I feel like the thing is Riddle just overextending situations that they shouldn't be. Like, Slowq clearly has underestimated the power of the LeBlanc.
Oh, lordy lord. Here we go again. It'll be MC caught up. He's going to try and get some damage down, but Cry secures that one, and the solo laners of JDXL just putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much a showcasing of how strong JDXL are in the early game, and honestly, they've put to work the Volibear. M&S is doing M&S things in the middle. He doesn't actually need anyone. Cries is flanking from the bot side of the map. They've swapped their bot lane top side of the map to take the Rift Herald as well. They're gonna put it down. Their bot lane is ahead. They'll get a bunch of platings at the top lane. They'll take the first tower into Zamulek's pocket as well. And mind you, Zamulek is on a champion that he has been stellar on. So no matter where we look from the side of JDXL, it just looks very, very, very promising. And honestly, I think Riddle need to seriously slow down the pace, give some room to MC to grow stronger towards the late game. Slowq needs to play it a little bit slower. There's been a lot of times where he's fumbled in the laning phase, where he's fumbled in team fights. This is where he actually needs.
Oh, no, no. Oh, my
Surely
days.
not.
He's going back. He's going to head forwards again. He's thinking about it. MC's around. Of course, M&S does still have the flash. He's hanging around. Look where Kikis is. He's got level 6. There is the heroic entrance. But they won't keep doing it. And actually, Riddle in a 3 versus 1 are forced back.
You know what? M&S reminds me of the meme where it's like, this man enters the bar and starts talking to your girlfriend. What do you do? And I throw my hands up and leave.
Just hand it. Just say, you know what? Take me out, please. M&S.
Screw the girlfriend. Take me out.
Where's my whining and dining? Anyway, this is JDXL in a nutshell.
You're greedy.
just dominant lanes that lead into incredible strangling jungle control. Kikis and Dan have already made MC's life a hell, and M&S and Christ, they just turn up in their lanes and they pull off stuff like that. I mean, it's looking... You saw Nymera earlier saying, I actually think JDXL are the best team in the league. And you can see why in a game like this.
I like to see what happens in a game where M&S falls behind. This is my real issue right here. I've not seen M&S fall behind. Even the game they lost versus X7, M&S solo kill tempt.
Yeah. I mean, that game was a wonderful battle between the mid laners. Don't get me wrong, but holy.
Diffy. But when M&S is able to pull out so many solo kills, it gives so much freedom to the jungle and the rest of the map to make plays, and M&S is making another one.
It's going to be a 3 versus 3, because of course Kikis can come down. They get the knock-up. It's a flash out from Slow Q, but the Magnet Storm now coming through on a Kikis who's getting dragged around and taken down. And JDXL overextend for a first time in a while, but they can keep chasing because they have the Shadow Surge, and M&S flashing away, still tanking up that bone plating, proving its worth one more time. Kex now on this blast code. Actually might now be in the spot of bother. I don't know whether you win this one.
Prize is coming though. He's around the corner.
Yeah,
he has ult.
He does. He could just keep going forwards. There's the Hextech ultimatum, and Kex is seeing that one being written down. The chains come through. The ignite is on, and M&S gets another.
Name of the game for JDXL, they overextend, but then in return, Riddle overextends, and now Zamulek has overextended down the bot lane. He's trying to dodge the bullets. One more MC.
Does manage to get on MC, can't chase. Did have the flash, but not enough damage, I don't think. But now Riddle may have overextended again. The counter extension, counter engagement from JDXL have been so good. Hook shot into the Storm. Bringer does a lot of work, but Riddle have got the damage, have got the CC to disengage.
Yeah, I think if M&S is not around, you cannot necessarily overextend. Zamulek has not been back to buy his first item. Camille doesn't do that much damage, and especially once he doesn't have ult, you can't lock anyone down. So even if Dan really jumps into a Rel Jhin, you can't necessarily really kill them, especially when you've got MC around onto the graves. Now that all the mythics have been completed, you can start looking to pick up this fight. Now that you've got the Sunder, now that you've got the Kraken, you can start seeing these openings on the map and trying to take the trades, because before that you needed M&S to be around.
Okay, it's 2 levels down, needs to be a little afraid. And I was about to talk about JDXL and that jungle control again. Look where all those control wards across the jungle are. They've got one behind the red buff. They had one in the entrance to the blue side jungle of Riddle. They've just lost a couple wards, but they were all over the place, and Riddle constantly playing like it's like kind of like counter spying. You're dealing with all these bugs planted all over your house, and JDXL just know everything about you right now.
Yeah, the thing is, for JDXL, they can actually they're actually allowed to commit and overextend because they have so many slippery targets, right? They've got the LeBlanc that can jump around. They've got the Volibear, who's very tanky. They've got the Camille, who can hop, skip, and jump as well. They've got so many slippery champions in their hands. On the other side of Riddle, if you get caught, you get caught. Yep. You're not necessarily too mobile to be able to get away. So once you play too close to the LeBlanc, who's slippery, and she overextends, she hasn't really, because she can jump back to her distortion. And honestly, I'm gonna go back to my point where if you're the jungler and the mid lane is always open for the opponent, because M&S can solo kill anyone and everyone who steps into their mid lane and probably centimeter away from the tower as well.
Oh, slow Q.
It makes it so much easier.
Oh boy.
Play the game. I mean, you can't take this ult in, can you?
Gonna try and take it away. They're gonna go in anyway. M&S does go invisible thanks to that passive. Now Kikis potentially in a spot of bother, does flash away from that final shot, takes a lot of damage, is sent fleeing. They're gonna continue trying to chase. One final auto would do it, but Kryze goes in to buy space. He's doing a lot of damage. MC taken pretty damn low. Collateral damage has come through, but Dan here to try and turn it around with that Stormbringer. Kryze continuing to step forwards. M&S as well is there. Here comes Kex turning around with the stand united. Ethereal chains disengage, and JDXL do get a kill.
We just talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah,
M&S
literally.
Dives the tower, gets caught, pulls every ultimate from Riddle in his face. Ooh, nice dodge.
Oh,
from
so
Fadichan.
much damage. Gonna keep trying! My days, that was an auto apart. Fadichan wins the 1v1.
That was a very clutch Gale Force right there from Fatih-chan. Had he not gotten that, again, great 1v1. Samuel does this all the time, whether he wins the 1v1s or not.
He takes him. Kex now going to be in trouble because, of course, Kryze is here with that heroic entrance, and it's just action across the map. Kex going to get knocked down. That is a kill over to Kikis.
I'm going to stop trying to make a point.
No, stop it. There's no time.
Because
Why would you do that?
there is no time. We've got, what, 12 kills in 15 minutes. Eminence diving, tier 1 mid lane towers. Every ultimate pulled on him. He still manages to get out. JDXL turning around, and we go back to the point. He is too slippery on these sort of champions. The Zeds, the LeBlancs, the Zoes, you cannot pin him down. And he creates at the start very sticky situations for his own team where they actually get into trouble to try and bail him out. But once they do, they instantly turn it around due to the fact that they're so far ahead in items and levels.
And of course, at this point in the game, it's still only half items at a difference, but give it another minute or so, and that's going to convert into a full item.
Lads running a Ludens.
Yeah, right.
A lost chapter.
Yeah, look, I was trying to be nice, but you're right. Slowq is a long way behind that LeBlanc, and Nukes is just dead. Kryze went forward, but of course, a well-timed personal space there prevents any further ingress from Kryze on the Camille, but with that big engage tool down, JDXL are going to set up court in this mid lane and try and charge into this mid lane tier 1.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to try and hide, but you have all the tools that you need. Volibear can disable the tower, Kryze can lock someone in, Galio can knock everyone up. But what you also have in your toolkit is very strong champions that can side lane. MC is running for his life. MC...
Just this jungle support duo. It's the Bash brothers. Eminence comes over, helps secure another kill. Slowq is rooted in place by the ethereal chains, but they won't chase on any further. Mid lane tower went down all the while, and JDXL just running complete mastery over this map. It's a 1v1 on the top side now as Kryze is winning that one out with the precision protocols, and now needs to be a little afraid. Flash away, but still gets it! Perfectly timed flash to secure that hookshot landing.
But still, Kryze was 2-0-4, 1.5 items in, and Kex seemed to be coming out ahead on that trade. Really clutch flash right there from Kex, and Kryze to follow it up to land the stun lock there. Overall, I think JDXL are playing with their foot a little bit. They're taking random 1v1s in the top lane, they're trying to catch people in the jungle, Eminence is doing his own thing, where he's actually been the scariest monster anyone has ever seen on the Rift.
It's standard stuff for him.
Yeah.
And on the other side for Riddle, we asked for a more stable performance across the board, not just one person stepping up. Unfortunately, I'm looking at a 1-4 Kex, a 1-4 MC. We've been over Slowq's situation from lane. Fatih-chan's doing okay, but honestly, I'm not sure there's even one person stepping up right now.
I don't think I can blame anyone from the side of Riddle right here, because I see... Yeah, that's Eminence. Okay.
Yeah.
You got another solo kill on the bot side of the
just
map.
off screen. Yeah.
So
Goodbye, MC.
When you've got someone like Eminence who completely destroys mid lane and bleeds the pressure into the jungle, that gives so much freedom to Dan to do whatever the heck he wants. That gives so much freedom to Kikis to do whatever the heck he wants together with Dan. And Eminence...
That's by his base gates!
He's just chilling literally outside of your base.
I'm sorry, as a jungler, that's making me incredibly upset. You do not get to get solo killed by your own base gate.
The problem here is you've got no CC to pin down that LeBlanc.
Oh,
Hey, you can pin down Dan, though.
Maybe you can give him a go. They're going to call the curtains. Dan, kind of a little bit unsure about where to head off. Going to get stumped, but does have a shield coming through. Now they're going to try and get an engage. Nukes goes forward, forces a flash out of both Dan and Zamalek there at the end of it all.
And the dragon is coming up on the bot side of the map. This is going to be the second dragon of the game. Of course, the whole bot side of the map is fully worded for JDXL, just for the bonus of having Eminence on a side lane and pushing it constantly. No one can go against this LeBlanc. Level 13.
Oh, Lord.
On the rest of the board, we have 11, 10, 12, 11, and 8. No one can go against this LeBlanc. And I'm going to go back to my point. You do not have enough CC to lock down the LeBlanc to kill the LeBlanc, because the Camille that could potentially lock her down is playing with her on the same team. So Eminence is a huge problem right here. And
oh, no!
Yeah, he's a huge problem right here, and they're going to have to be very creative to try and shut him down.
5, 0, and 2. And basically every time I've been able to say the words oh and no, and then someone is dead.
I think he's had 4 solo kills this game. 4.
Yeah. 4 solo kills. And this is a guy who is literally 2 completed items plus boots versus a bargain bucket in slow Q's inventory. That is the difference in mid lane. And they've literally killed the jungle. They're going to start up this Baron, and there is nothing at all that Riddle can do.
So,
nothing at all.
This is a 10,000 gold lead, 20 minutes
before the Baron's gone.
It is huge. It is huge. And the problem isn't even the gold lead right now. If you completely ignore all the gold and all the items, it's also the compositions, right? There is so much lockdown, there's so much CC, there's so much caging on the side of JDXL, as well as there is slipperiness. You cannot necessarily catch a lot of the targets. Volibear has the ultimate to get away. Kryze has the hookshot to get away. LeBlanc is so slippery as any champion, and you just do not have enough CC from the side of Riddle to lock them down, to try and pick someone apart. So usually I would say, if you can't beat them in a team fight, try to pin someone down in the side lane. It's just so difficult.
21 minutes into the game, Slow Q finally completes his first item.
Versus 2.5.
Versus 2.5.
From anyone, pretty much.
They're literally,
JDXL.
That is massive. Wards have gone down now for the side of M&S. They're starting to ingress again into the jungle here, take control of the vision, choke people out. It is their modus operandi. Control the jungle, control the game, do it with M&S being able to pull off stuff like this. Maybe has gone too deep though, stunned in place, but he's over the wall. The Shadow Surge still lands, flash away, there's just not enough damage. M&S finally shut down, finally gotten a kill, and that might actually buy some space as Kryze is into the backline, murdering Fatty Chan, gets that one. Dan going to get as much across as they can as Kick has to flash across the wall. That's a 1-for-1.
Okay, that was very cocky coming in from M&S.
yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna dive in. I know Slowq has his fear, but I don't care. Guess what? The only thing you have to fear is Slowq's fear, because once that locks you down, then they can chain the CC. Very good shield usage right there from Slowq. They pull in the Shen ultimate as well, and it was one lock CC into another one, and M&S ends up going down. No matter what JDXL could do right there, no one could help M&S in this situation. They tried, and he's slippery, but they finally pinned him down. Does that make it any easier for Riddle? No, it was pretty much M&S running it down there, and I don't think he's gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he wants to close the game out.
That was a little overeager there from JDXL.
A little running, you know, a little running.
Yeah, you saw like Dan trying to ult as Graves, you know, like quick draws over a wall, and then Kick is having to ult into a flash out. You know, a little bit overeager as MC does force Kryze to back out, and at least for Riddle, this does stymie that Baron push somewhat. That could have been base breaking actually, and instead, JDXL might not even get that opportunity anymore, as Kex though is going to be in a spot of bother here, finds both Solans, but does get the stun. There's the flash out. Still going to go run down here. I just don't think there's a way out. Rooted in place. Will be able to secure this kill though. M&S does get it, but now needs to back off as quick as they can. MC does a lot of damage there with the collateral damage, and that's actually a decent turner as M&S still pretty low. Slow Q chunked out, but going to continue chasing forwards with that Shadow Surge, but I think he's gone too deep now, and M&S goes forward to delete MC. Zamalek gets the jungler, and it was a feel-good moment for Riddle, but they just don't have the damage.
Yeah, that was again JDXL overextending way too much. And you're not against a sustained Graves. These Graves hurt. It's the full lethality Graves with the Eclipse. And yes, MC cannot sustain too much through these fights, and he cannot play the front to back. But if you overextend, he can kill you with 3 autos, a Q, and an ultimate. So with 2 autos, sorry, a Q and an ultimate. And this is exactly what happened. Both Kryze and M&S are trying to catch Kex right there. You'll see that Kryze does not have the ultimate to lock him down, and that was a very, very good chain to lock Kex. But the smoke screen created so many problems for M&S and Kryze. They couldn't move forward, and Slowq gets a beautiful ultimate. And the problem here is he has connected his ultimate onto Dan, and he presses R2 onto a Volibear without a fear on him as his passive. So again, it's the same thing that we're talking about, right? JDXL overextends, Riddle capitalizes. They've capitalized a lot of times on JDXL overextending, and then they overextend themselves.
Yeah, it's all well and good getting a first-class ticket on the Vexpress, but you did not want to get off at that station.
Express, I like that.
See, I'm going to keep that one.
Like
See?
that.
Steal it. You have it, my blessing. I hand it to the world. Just, I don't know, credit me or something. Kick is going to secure more vision control. I've said that a lot about this game as
M&S?
M&S is just hunting around, just watching. He's going to head on to
play through the...
Yeah, oh, look, I'm looking at Cact's health bar right now, and it's dwindling somewhat. Does have to get out there with the Shadow Dash. There we go, I remember what that's called.
You cannot play the side lanes.
Nope.
Slowq, you cannot face M&S. Kex cannot face M&S, and he's literally taking waves solo on the side. No one can stop him. No one can pin him down. The only time they have been able to pin him down is when he dived all alone straight into 5 people. No fear.
Yeah.
Run it a little bit. Got punished for it. He hasn't done it again. But he's still, you know what? He's kind of playing Call of Duty here, where you always had a camper at some like corner of a room of a building.
No scope!
Yeah.
Fiddlechan gonna try and get out. Not Fiddlestick.
Close.
I've called Fiddlechan Fiddlesticks there, which I don't think is quite appropriate.
I mean, he does look like a fiddle stick.
Yeah, brilliant. Definitely feeling somewhere between survival horror and first-person shooter as M&S. Definitely looking for that 1v1 on Rust. Right now, though, Cries shoving up the one sideline, M&S in the other, and neither the Camille or the LeBlanc are people you want to just. They are the joint highest levels in the game. You can see the items in inventory. I'm pretty sure M&S is doing near true damage right now with the amount of magic pen he's got.
Honestly, the only thing you can do if you're Riddle is bundle up as 5 members and pray that Slog is going to catch someone
Like
that's
that.
diving in with the fear, and you're going to lock someone down. And one by one, trying to take shutdowns on the side of JDXL, try to cash in on some bounties. Obviously, some of the stuff that I'm saying is a little bit overzealous, I would say, because there's 14,000 gold difference between the two teams.
Mass.
And obviously, we're like trying to find the win con if there is any, but this game is as good as over.
It is a miracle. It's the kind of things that would go down in League history books, never mind NLC history books. JDXL are just that far ahead. They're going to start up a second Baron. There's no way Riddle can come and contest, so they will secure it. And with this Baron, they will be looking to put the final nail in this coffin. It's already lowered 6 feet down. They just need to put the dirt on top.
Yeah.
I love the response, and the analysis is like,
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty dire for Riddle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I cannot find many win conditions. If they had any easier CC, I would say maybe. If there was a Rakan instead of RL, I would say maybe. If there was a Lulu instead of RL, I would say maybe. But it is just so difficult to pin this man on your screens down. He's gonna do it again. He's just looking for people 1v5. He doesn't care.
Just look how dark this map is, and unfortunately LeBlanc's thrive in the dark, and that's just a dead Fadichan, but no, managed to cleanse away the Ignite, so won't burn down. But my days, the summoner's down, and that was just a single rotation from M&S. Wait for the ultimate back, but he can keep doing it. He's just over the wall.
That is fine, as long as you get to push someone off of the tower. It means that this minion is going to do that much more damage. It means that your team is able to push forward until somebody returns from the fountain. You've pushed yet another wave, and look at the top lane. Kryze is pushing as well. Your bot lane wave is pushing. There's going to be 3 waves pushing into Riddle's base, and then you also have to deal with M&S, who's a menace right now.
And M&S at this point, with how far LeBlanc is right in, get rooted in place by a perfect chains of corruption. Slow Q's into the backline, trying to get Zamalek, just can't do it. M&S secures that one all the while. The fight in the base continues. Dan gets one, Kickers gets another, and it's Fadichan and Kex left alone. And JDXL eviscerates Riddle. It was a brutal demolition. Solo kill after solo kill. And JDXL have seen all the hype around X7, and they've gone, you best not be forgetting about us. They will tie for first. They will stay in arm's reach. 8-1 at the end of the first round robin.
And honestly, what a clinic.
Oh, naughty.
Okay, M&S, now you're showing off, man. Now you're actually showing off, man. How many